Started? Okay. Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Today, for our AMA meeting, we have a social impact and alumni panel meeting. So it's gonna be really cool. We're gonna hear from people that were once Warhawks and are now doing social impact work through their marketing careers. I think it'll be really exciting to hear from all the different perspectives, and if it's something you're interested in, getting more information of what a career could look like. So for today we're just going to go over, we're going to have the panel, then go over some updates, and then we are going to have a little showing of our new social impact video that just got finished today. It's really cool. So we're excited to see it. It's a video that our social impact division does and submits for a national competition at the AMA International Collegiate Conference. So fingers crossed it goes good. But now I'm going to turn it over to Kylie, our social impact president, and have our panelists join us up front. Kylie's going to be getting us started for today.
Hello. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kylie, and I am the Social Impact President. And today I'm going to be hosting the Social Impact Nonprofit Marketing Panel. So we have 5 professionals with us. We have 2 online and then 3 in person. So we're going to start with for everyone to go through, introduce yourself, talk a little bit about the company that you work for, and a brief description of what you do. Abby, do you want to start?
Sure. Thanks, Kylie. Hi, everyone. My name is Abby Daniels. I am the current communications director for St. Joseph Catholic Church in Libertyville, Illinois. And we're talking about what we do. I currently manage all of our communications. So I manage our social media. We have an Instagram, a Facebook, and a YouTube page. We have a website that I update every day. We do a biweekly newsletter. We have a monthly printed bulletin, and really anything else that needs to be communicated to the public, I get to help oversee. I graduated Whitewater in 2022, and I was really involved in AMA. I love AMA. I was digital president, and I was also on the social impact board as VP of graphics, I think. And I was also on the case team, and I love AMA, and I'm happy to be back.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ryan Dalton. I am the Communications Director of the Paralyzed Veterans of America Vaughan chapter. We are the Illinois chapter of Paralyzed Veterans of America based out of Westchester, Illinois. For those of you who don't know, that's a bit west of Chicago. My kind of duties as Communication Director are very similar to Abby's. Since our outfit is about 3 employees, so we're a lot smaller and tight-knit. So I handle all of the communications that come out of the chapter. That's social media, so our Facebook, our Instagram, our YouTube, our X account, Twitter account, our website. I'm the one who designed that. I do the updates on that weekly. For any emails that need to go out, we use Constant Contact. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with that. I also publish and create our quarterly newsletter that kind of updates everyone on what we've been doing as a chapter. My involvement here with AMA, I graduated here last May, and I was the past digital president. I also had some other roles. I was the website designer for General AMA, and I was also a CMU account executive in CMU. And that's actually a funny story because that's how I ended up getting my job. I was the account executive for PVA, and that's kind of what led me to my job now today. So I'm very excited to be back here and talking to you all again and see some familiar faces from before I graduated. So it's nice to see all you again.
So hi, my name is Ruth Hansen, and I will bring this out a little bit further. And I am actually on faculty here as an associate professor of nonprofit management. And before I did that, I worked for 20 years as a fundraiser. Fundraising is a funny field. Some people consider it to be part of marketing. Some people consider it to be part of public relations. What I consider my own journal, where I publish a lot of my research, is the Journal of Philanthropy and Marketing. So I'm here for kind of a highly specialized version that really goes hand in glove with people who do marketing at nonprofit organizations, or for those nonprofit organizations that don't have a dedicated marketing person, you wind up doing a lot of similar activities. So I'm very pleased to be here today.
All right, so we're gonna jump online. Tessa, would you like to go first? And you're muted right now.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
I'm hoping my connection is good. No,
Yes.
it's not pulling.
No, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Hi, I'm Tessa. I am up at the Grand Theater in Wausau, Wisconsin. I graduated from Whitewater in 2018. I was a music major and a business major. I was a part of AMA for 4 years. I was CMU and AMA president, which was fantastic, and I highly recommend both. My organization, we are a nonprofit here at Wausau. I'm actually employed by the foundation that manages Grand Theater, building its space, historic theater. I've been here 6 months now. My journey with nonprofits started after graduating in 2018, moved down to Kansas City, and was a marketing intern at Symphony. Worked with nonprofit hospitals, with consulting, and moved back to Wisconsin and was a part of the Wisconsin Symphony Orchestra, managed that for the last 2 years. And now I'm at the Grand Wausau, Wisconsin. So lots of journey, as Ruth had said, there's a lot of overlap when you're at a small organization with marketing. I am the director of development, a team of one. We have a marketing, a team of one, and a coordinator in marketing, coordinator in develop that helps with multiple pieces that go hand in hand together. So I'm glad to be here with the arts and culture life, because it's different and it is my space. So thanks so much.
Thank you. Zuri, would you like to go?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Zuri. Apologize in advance if I sound really sick. Woke up this morning, and that's why I decided to go virtual. But very happy to be back. I graduated in 2020. I was a CMU account executive. Really loved my time at AMA, so very happy to participate in a small way. I actually got my job also through an AMA contact. So I work with Hannah Peltier, Jimmy Peltier's daughter. And then I also work with Haley Leckner, who is a past AMA president. That's how I connected. So definitely the networking that happens in AMA becomes useful later on. But I work at NC3, which is the National Coalition of Certification Centers. I kind of have multi-purposes. As Ruth was mentioning, one of the things nonprofit is that you end up wearing a lot of hats, doing a lot of things. So I'm an event coordinator, specifically our virtual events. STEM program manager for our CNC and 3D printing certifications. And also just help out with the social media on our department. And then for I guess to explain a little bit more about NC3, money might not know. We work with 17 global partners. Some of them include like 3M, Snap-on, Lincoln Electric. And really our goal is to create industry recognized portable certifications that are built on national skill standards. So we want to standardize the workforce. So if you're a student in California or in Wisconsin, you're learning those same skills when you're going into the workforce.
Okay, thank you for that. So our first question is, what are the differences that you've seen between for-profit and nonprofit in your specific field, whether it's marketing, management, communications? Ruth, would you like to go first?
Sure. So working as a charitable fundraiser, there isn't a heck of a lot of an analog in a for-profit organization. When I've worked for for-profits, I've wound up doing stuff like managing building projects and handling exports, which is like really different from what I've done as a charitable fundraiser. But then what you do as a charitable fundraiser is you build relationships. And some people do that by going out and meeting people face to face. Some people do that by writing letters or by putting on events. And it requires you to really put yourself in the point of view of who do you want to respond, right? So that's a whole perspective taking that was very different from any of the jobs that I personally held in the for-profit sector.
To kind of echo what was said there, yeah, working for a nonprofit, I also do a lot of fundraising as my role as communications director. I know there are two different job titles, but a lot of the fundraising aspect of our work falls on me as well. And it's a lot about relationship building, as she mentioned, where you're not exactly looking for consumers like you would a for-profit business. You're looking for kind of brand equity and for people to know who you are as a nonprofit, what your mission statement is, how you affect those in your community. And instead of getting a consumer, you're building relationships and forging trust with donors so that they in turn will help support your mission and your organization to serve those you're trying to help in your community or those that your nonprofit is trying to serve. Whereas for profit, you're usually looking to generate leads for attracting consumer bases in a for-profit sense. So that's where I would say that the main difference lies.
I would echo everything they say as far as relationship building, but I'll add on something else. I think something I learned a lot working at a church is that the biggest difference for me is that the people that I work with aren't employees. They aren't people that necessarily you can hold accountable, and you have to be kind of creative with that. I work with a lot of volunteers, a lot of people that are retired and just looking for something to fill their time and their calendars now. So adding on to the relationship building part, you really have to focus on that because it's not necessarily this person is hired to do this job. They're giving their time to do that job. They're helping run the food pantry. They are helping hang stuff up on the walls just for something to do for a lot of people. And so it's so important that you nurture those relationships and build on those and keep those at the forefront of what you do.
Okay, Zuri, would you like to respond?
Yeah, I think for NC3 it's a little bit unique because we are still working with those big global partners that are looking to generate, their leads and essentially still make money, right? But the job on NC3 end is we really want to make sure these students are getting these opportunities. So I think the biggest difference is the marketing material that we create on our end at least is a little less salesy and more educational and informative.
Tessa?
Yes, I would ours very unique. Like I said, we're a historic theater, so we provide entertainment here in Wausau area. We actually have patrons who come from every county in the state that come up because we're historic theater. That means we have people coming to attend our shows. We have Broadway shows. We have dances. Have local high school. We have the Nutcracker coming. So we have a broad variety of patrons coming. And then me working as director of development, trying to connect with those patrons, cultivate and steward them into becoming into investing in our organization as a whole, not just a ticket buyer. Accessible, in the market management development that's all overlapping. There's a lot of us as a team of 17 people that the historic theater operate each and every day. Some of us on the marketing development, fundraising side, and some of us just in the day-to-day operations. And I think that's what makes for organization is we wear a lot of hats of things with volunteers, a lot of people to our space, thousands each year that want to make sure they have a great experience. They see a show, hear a show, whatever that might be. And a great experience for them to come back and be continue trend or to patron don't. And before that's it might just be sales if that's goal. It will be the cultivation of donors in our space each.
Thank you for that. So our next question is, what drew you to work in the nonprofit sector, and what skills or experiences have helped you transition into the nonprofit world? Ruth, would you like to start?
So, like Tessa, I was a music major undergrad, and I worked as a student in our university foundation, just as a student job. Turned out that 4 out of the 5 people who were working in our department were actually musicians. So I don't know, that worked well for us. And so when I graduated, I mean, my marketable skills were singing and working on fundraising. And so my first job after college was in the fundraising department at Carnegie Hall. And from there, I gathered some research skills, moved to Chicago, and worked for a while in a couple of for-profits because I didn't have the network in Chicago, but found myself back working in a variety of nonprofits in Chicago, working in human services, working in higher ed, still working some in cultural. And I think one of the things that really inspired me, one of the people who I worked with back at my university foundation talked so much about how his expertise was able to really work with people who care about something and with an organization that's doing something worth supporting and help them work together to allow for things to happen that wouldn't happen otherwise. And that's something that I found in my own career too that's been very fulfilling.
All right. As for my experiences, what led me to my job I currently have, I've always liked working with veterans. I used to be in the Boy Scouts, kind of joke about it now, but that's kind of where my involvement started. But particularly with PVA, as soon as I kind of became a student here at the University of Whitewater, I joined up with AMA. And immediately right off the bat, they needed a website designer. So I got thrust into that role, and that's where I learned a lot about, website design and graphic design as a part of a member of the digital marketing division. And upon joining CMU, they had a new account, which was the Paralyzed Veterans of America account. And that's when I met the employees there, Keith, who I joke is my boss, but he's actually just another employee who's older than me. I met him and we did a lot of work with each other while I was a student here and working with AMA and CMU. And that's kind of where that relationship started and how I essentially created their whole website, and eventually that led to my job there with PVA. And in terms of experiences, I would say that everything I had picked up in the past, and then especially in AMA with through the digital marketing division, learning about graphic design and on my own kind of working with websites as a part of the general member division, those kind of skills mesh together hand in hand where I could kind of make a synergy and kind of wear those many hats like they were kind of mentioning before, as a nonprofit employee, you really have to be a flexible person. You have to kind of work within the margins of what you have, and especially if you're a smaller outfit, you kind of have to be who they need you to be that day. It's not more so that your job is structured and you have one task or one goal. Your goal is basically whatever you have to get done that day, and if that means you have to be a totally different employee, that's kind of what you have to meld yourself into being. So, it's a very tense situation sometimes. Sometimes you have to step out of your comfort zone to get things done, but it's very rewarding. And if you're looking for work experience in different fields, I would say starting off as a nonprofit employee is definitely a worthy experience, and you get to do a lot of great work with a lot of great people.
So for me, something that I learned about myself in college through my internships is that like when I was graduating, I just knew wherever I ended up, I had to be passionate about whatever it was that I was going to be doing every day. I had quite a few internships and some of them weren't so great. And I think the reason that I didn't enjoy them as much was just because I wasn't passionate about selling containers. I wasn't super passionate about selling dog food manufacturing. Like those are great experiences and I certainly learned a lot from them, but I knew that's not where I wanted to end up and do every single day because it wasn't something that I really cared about. I was graduating in December of 2022 and I was struggling to find a job after I graduated. So I was applying anywhere. Anyone that was looking for anything digital marketing, I was applying for it. And I had a couple job offers when I was getting ready to graduate, and one of them was it paid more and it had really good benefits and it seemed like something that I would be good at, but the job was selling something. It was for, I'll just tell you, it was for Rust-Oleum and they are like paint and paint thinners and that kind of stuff. And it's just, I'm not a big paint person. I don't really know anything about that. And I knew it would be a good job, but it wasn't something that I think I would really be passionate about. And that's what I learned in my internships. I do my best work when it's something that I'm passionate about. And a lot of times too, with if I consider myself one of the consumers, it's a little bit easier to understand that target audience. So the other job offer, one of the other ones was working for the church, which is my current job now. And it wasn't something I ever thought I would be doing. I was an AMA, I was digital president, just like you guys. I was looking for something out in the profit world, trying to find a really good job. But I accepted the job at the church because I thought it would be something that I would enjoy doing. I would be working with a lot of different people that would help me grow, and the church was doing a lot of great work. I think something interesting about working at a church is that you might just think of a church as like a place people go to on Sunday for their services, but St. Joe's, where I work, we have all kinds of different ministries. We have over 100 different ministries, and they all have a different purpose. And most of them, I mean, actually, all of them are doing really great work for people in need. And so that was something that I saw as like, I'm not just trying to sell you something. I'm not just adding another thing for your credit card bill. Like, the church is about your faith, and this is something that has changed people's lives. And I saw that as something that I would be really passionate about, and helping people that are in need. That was something that I saw as needed in the world, something I could use my talents for. So that's kind of what drew me to my job. and why I ended up accepting that one. And the second part of your question about like transferable skills, everything that I learned in college, like I was able to apply, especially because I'm the only person doing the marketing and the communications. So I not only get to do all of the print marketing, I get to do event marketing, I get to do we have a school, and so I get to do a little bit of sports marketing, and obviously digital marketing is huge. So everything I learned, I get to apply, and I love it.
Okay, let's jump online. Tessa, would you like to respond?
Sure. Yes. So mine was kind of creative. I can honestly say I was the only music and business major who was president of CMU and AMA. My nonprofit world, I guess, started with CMU, and many of you who are still working Lake Geneva Women's Weekend, that was the beginning of my AMA life. Started and planned many Lake Geneva Women's Weekends. Then kind of branched into getting what is it? Rock the Stormwater group. So that was a big addition.
Rock River Stormwater?
Yes. So actually, I was the beginning person who pitched them on that project, and I'm glad you guys are still doing it. I'm so excited. So that actually got me intrigued into what these cities are doing and what how people are conveying information for whatever topic it might be, stormwater of all things. And I knew with my music background, I was, a great musician. I performed at Carnegie Hall. I've done all the things. I joined AMA. I didn't do very well in all the skills competitions. I'll just say that, but I tried. But it was a really unique experience to put my music and my business together. And when I graduated, I accepted my internship in development and marketing down at the Kansas City Symphony. This is like $8 million organization. My true passion came from working with them. It's a small organization. I think we had about 15 full-time staff to manage this $8 million symphony orchestra. They needed all the hands they could get. I took all of that knowledge. I actually then shifted to nonprofit healthcare, help nonprofit hospitals with IRS guided community health needs assessments that was needed each I think every 3 years. So that kind of got me interested on another nonprofit. And I moved on from that position because it was a consultant position and I wanted to get back to officially working for nonprofit. But I found myself at an agency. I learned a little bit more of working with nonprofits from the agency side, which was fantastic. I absolutely loved working with the agency down in Kansas City. I worked with the Ronald McDonald House. I worked with other nonprofit hospitals. I worked with the homeless shelter nonprofit. I kind of learned a little bit more. Each year was like something else. And then I decided to move back to Wisconsin. I'm from the Appleton area, and I found myself moving back to Stevens Point and helping the symphony orchestra there. Very small. I was the employee of one. Nonprofit world, many hats. I did them all. I did all of the marketing. I did all of the communication. I did all of the fundraising. I managed the whole organization, and it was a fantastic experience for just over 2 years. And then I found myself here at the and I just absolutely love narrowing in on fundraising. That's what development is. And I really I guess put my knowledge test from CMU and AMA way back from 2014 to now, 10 years later. It really helped gauge and help me understand where I kind of wanted to be, what I wanted to do. And I would highly recommend anyone in the room to get involved with AMU and CMU in certain initiatives. So whether that's planning events or something like that, that was a huge part of, I guess, putting my business together and my brain, both sides of my brain working together. And I think that's what led me where I am now. And I find my passion has been in fundraising, development. I've worked hand in hand with our marketing team, and I don't guess plan or coordinate the marketing, but I still have that knowledge to like get the fund drive letters out, get information out to our teachers and our donors the right way, and steward the right people. So I think that's a huge part that has led me where I am today is understanding all those different levels. And it's okay for everyone in the room if you find a job, you don't like it, but you try to pursue something that you're passionate about, like the other panelists are saying. And that's what I definitely recommend because it's been the last 10 years for me.
Zuri, would you like to respond?
Yep, I definitely agree with Abby's sentiments on not feeling passionate. I was an intern my senior year of college, was not enjoying it for different reasons. And then Haley, like I mentioned, was a past AMA president, was visiting for homecoming. We got to talking, and she was describing her job. And I thought it was really interesting, really cool. More I learned about it, really was something that I was passionate about. So I was a transfer student to Whitewater. So I did 2 years at a community college first. And I, when I first went to that community college, definitely heard a lot of comments from people saying it wasn't the same, education that I was getting, or just a lot of negatives, which I disagree with. And that's something that NC3 really works with. That 4 years, even though I ended up going 4 year, it's not the only path, and it's not the path for everyone. So it's something that I'm very passionate about, educating other students on just making sure they're really informed on how many options there are out there for them. So that was how I got started. And I mean, CMU and the internships that I did have during college were very helpful in helping me learn how to relationships and just being super involved with different organizations. Like we've mentioned, with a nonprofit, you're not really focused on one task or one project at a time. You have to be flexible and learn how to prioritize, and that definitely helps.
Thank you. If you have a question for one of our panelists, you can scan this QR code and write down your question. And then in about 10 or 15 minutes, I'll go through and answer some of those questions. And actually, one of my questions here that I have, and then what someone has asked was, how do you see the nonprofit sector growing? Like, is there room for growth? Is there room for improvement? Do you see the nonprofit sector going away?
For NC3 specifically, I can attest that we're only growing. When I first joined, we were at about 13 employees, so very small. And I think this year we're up to like 25. So we've only had growth more industry partners joining, and I think just as the trades are growing again, people are realizing 4 year typical white collar isn't the only path for them. So definitely a lot of growth.
Tessa, what are your thoughts?
Yes. I believe 10 years ago when our executive director was here, we had a staff of about half. We have grown from 8 to 17 in the last 10 years, which is great. And it used to be marketing and development was one person, and now we've got 4 people. So there is a lot of potential for growth, but I do want to remind everyone that all five of us are at different sectors. So there's many different sectors of nonprofit. I'm specifically talking about arts and culture. There's a lot of verticals to growth. But I'm sure the panelists will talk about their specific area because I see that there's growth amongst all five of our sectors, but I can only speak on arts and culture because people continue to attend things, they want to see events, they want to go see art exhibits. There's so much going on that people want to do. So I do feel that if you are looking to go to nonprofit work in the next year, you're graduating in a couple of years, definitely look around. But I would recommend to look national and maybe not just in Wisconsin if you're really looking for something specific.
So I would just say, to echo what Tessa said, yeah, there's nonprofits in a lot of different fields. So like in Wisconsin, 92% of the hospitals are nonprofits. And nationally, over half of the employment in the nonprofit sector is in either healthcare or in education. And the reason for that isn't because that's where all of the organizations are. The reason for that is because hospitals and higher ed tend to employ a lot of people, right? I don't think those are going away. We have by far the largest number of organizations is in human services. And across all of these fields, we've seen trends over the past decades of increasing professionalization. Unfortunately, some of the smaller nonprofits in particular don't appreciate how a marketing function can contribute to their mission. But if your mission is to, move the needle on a certain issue, you need people to know about that. You need them to know about that so that they can support it with their money or with their time. You need people to know about that because whether you're writing a grant or you have a checkout charity thing going at a local store, people are more likely to support you if they know what you're doing. So I don't see the sector as a whole going, dissipating, certainly. If anything, I see it getting more professional, but depending on what field you're in, yeah, sometimes there's rocky times.
Yeah, to kind of echo that, I think what she was saying was completely spot on. And for me, it's a bit different. I work for what they call a VSO. It's a veteran service organization. It's a little bit different from other nonprofits. So I want to say that this is a yes and no question for my answer. In terms of membership, no, we're not particularly growing, and I think that's a good thing because we definitely don't want more wars and we don't want more paralyzed veterans to have to benefit from our services because nobody wants that. However, yes, in terms of more membership, because I'm sure, I don't know how many of you follow the news or what bills passed, but recently, I think in the last few years, they passed a bill where veterans who got COPD from burn pits, across seas are now benefiting a lot from kind of recovery funds and they're being taken care of and compensated. Um, but in terms of our organization, how we're helping, expand and help more veterans is we used to only serve those with spinal cord injury who became paralyzed. And now we're also factoring in spinal cord disease. So those with ALS are also being inducted into our programs and kind of joining the ranks of our membership and benefiting from our programs. Um, and in terms of, how is the industry growing in terms of individuals? Um, our particular chapter is a small outfit. I think I mentioned we were only 3 employees. It wasn't a struggle per se to get me on, but it did take some convincing. The way our kind of organization functions is it's based off of board votes. That means that members of the organization are put into positions of power similar to shareholders at any like for-profit company. Those members are voted in based on their peers, the other members of the organization, and they're the ones who have final say and decisions made in the nonprofit. So they had to vote me into my position to become an employee. that had to be approved and budgeted for. And I don't think they regretted that decision, because now, like was mentioned, we have the ability to capture new media covering our chapter and use that for promotional material. Like she mentioned, moving the needle, getting the message out there, seeing how veterans benefit from our programs directly. And recently, just this year, they sent me on multiple trips. I've gotten to go to Louisiana to capture the National Veterans Wheelchair Games. We took our team there, and we got to capture a lot of photos from that event. We also went to DC to do a lot of kind of campaigning for our organization and letting people know like what VSOs need, in particular paralyzed veterans need. So the media coverage aspect of that and the social media and the marketing aspect really help get the nonprofit message out there, and how you can help your particular nonprofit organization and those you serve.
So as far as like religious institutions going away, I don't think that's happening anytime soon. I believe everyone needs a little Jesus, but even if you disagree, like there's still a lot of great services that churches provide, and like feeding the hungry, helping those in need, putting people in houses that need houses. So there's a lot of great things that the churches do to help people in need, and I think there will always be a need.
Thank you for that. I'm going to jump to some of the questions that we've gotten to online, and I'm going to kind of combine these two. What is your favorite story or memory that has happened while you've been working in nonprofit? And what is something that you see in your job when you help people that just makes it all worth it? Abby, would you like to go first?
Sure. So many to choose from. I would say one of my favorite memories was, it happened pretty recently actually. We were so something about a nonprofit is that you wear a lot of hats, right? So I'm the communications director, but last week I was helping set up chairs for an event just because they needed somebody to help do that. And we have a small staff and it needed to get done, and I was around. So we were helping set up chairs, and out of nowhere, a chipmunk appeared in the office. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? And there's not like a facilities team or anything like that because we're a small team. So my job that day was chasing the chipmunk and getting the chipmunk out of the office. And it was an adventure, and this chipmunk was driving me a little bit crazy, and it would hide on the couches and run around. So not quite about what my job is, but I think it does speak to nonprofits. Like you get to do a little bit of everything, and that day I got to chase a chipmunk, and it was really funny.
Ruth, would you like to go?
I guess what popped into my mind is sometimes the stuff that sticks with you isn't the stuff that would pop out as being the most important on the spreadsheet. I was working at a mid-sized university on the south side of Chicago, and I saw a potential grant opportunity come across my desk from the Illinois Arts Council. And I reached out to people in our various, our music department. We didn't have a theater department, our art department. And I said, there's this money available for public programming. If you had a couple $1,000 each, is there something you would like to do with it? And oh my God, the excitement. Yes, these plans came out, and it was for film screenings, and it was for live performances, and it was for art shows, and it was for, educational things that would be rolled into it and stuff that would bring the community together, as well as fireworks on the 4th of July with a band, right? For like a grant of less than $6,000. All these people were excited, and hundreds of people from the community came in to campus and were a part of that. And it started with me making more work for myself. But I was certainly happy I did. So.
All right, let's jump online. Tessa, would you like to respond?
Yes, I was trying to narrow in on what my, I guess, most exciting moment was. But my previous position, when I was executive director of the Central Wisconsin Symphony Orchestra, one of my pride moments was raising $75,000 to grow our endowment. And for nonprofits in the room and those who aren't aware, an endowment is greatly needed and very, I guess, prevalent in nonprofit world, especially in symphony and arts and culture. So to grow our endowment over $100,000 because there was 25,000 in it was a huge success. That was my first successful campaign raising $75,000 from what people would consider the symphonic concert goers, patrons are an older demographic, so 65 and over. And to try to reach the right people at the right time to give the right amount was a huge success for me. And that raising those funds was huge for the organization because our budget, me being a full-time employee with a couple part-time people, was less than $400,000. So to have $100,000 in endowment for go-to funds that we had pulled from before my time during COVID, and to use and have those funds available for future of the organization was huge. Was a big undertaking to grow that fund and to connect with the right people at the right time. So that's one of my big moments, and I'm currently here at the Grand Theater. I think any of our moments is just we sell out a show, and I get to meet one ecstatic volunteer or patron who leaves the show and they absolutely loved it, thrilled. I love those types of stories, and I'm meeting so many of our volunteers that have so many personal connections to the theater itself, the arts itself. Their parents grew up and attended shows here. Just how involved everybody, how connected everybody is in your nonprofit world is just so rewarding to be in the position you're in my opinion.
Thank you. Zuri, would you like to respond?
Yeah. So many feel-good moments. I mean, every time we get pictures of groups of students holding their certifications up, is really exciting. We've also started teaching in some prisons for those looking for reform, and just, seeing pictures of them also getting to work with our snap-on certifications and things like that is always really exciting. Moving into working K-12 and getting kids excited with 3D printing, and then that moving to other STEM certifications is always really exciting. But one of my favorite moments and events is definitely actually my background, which is NSD, National Signing Day. So a lot of you are familiar with the sports National Signing Day, right? When we celebrate students committing to a sports program. We modeled something similar to that about 10, 13 years ago now. So we work with schools, providing them all the marketing kit that they need really to throw this event together. And it's a one-day event held every April 20th, where the community colleges celebrate all their trade programs, and seeing pictures of families showing up. There was one last year with a mom signing to a program, and she had her little kid in her arms. All of those really good moments really add up.
Thank you. All right, jumping back in person, Ryan, what was your memory?
I would say it's more of an ongoing thing than a particular memory. One of the favorite aspects I have about my job is actually the photography aspect, because to me that means I get to be in person on the ground and see how our organization helps people directly. I this year got to go to a few places I think I briefly mentioned. One of those favorite places this year I went to was Louisiana to capture the National Veterans Wheelchair Games, where we got to bring our Chicago team out to participate. And for those of you who don't know what this event is, it's kind of akin to the Paralympics, except it's the Veteran Service Organization version. So all of the people who are participating are former veterans or part of the branch of military. So it was very inspiring to get to see this many people in wheelchairs in one place, putting their athleticism to the test. And it was super inspiring being able to capture that on camera and, just seeing their faces and how, being with people like them, kind of changed them and affected them in unimaginable ways was something very special to witness. It was also great during downtime and leisure time when people didn't have events. We got to go out to places like Bourbon Street, and on a Friday night, that can get kind of crazy. So that was a that was a nice story and a nice tale to tell. But I'll save that for another time, maybe.
All right, so we've got one more question. What general advice to college students, to future graduates, and to future professionals? What advice do you have for us? And let's start online. Zuri, would you like to go first?
Oh, yeah. I think reiterating mine and Abby's comments from earlier, follow something that you're passionate about, because it makes going to work every day a lot easier. I super close with all my coworkers, and I've been here for 5 years now for a reason, because it's a really great company that I believe in, and also just incredible people that I'm surrounded with every day. So I think as long as you do something that makes you happy, you'll be happy too.
Thank you. Tessa?
Yeah, my recommendation, I guess, would just be get involved with what you're interested in now. That might change, and you can learn so many things by being involved with different CMU, AMAs, social impact. You guys have bridged into so many more things since I was there. Just so many opportunities. So if you're into event planning now, branch into that. And then as you get into that, you will understand, are you truly passionate, or do you really enjoy planning certain types of events, or do you pivot somewhere else? My background, not being very salesy, I did not take sales classes. I was a management major. I tried to fit my music business classes in. I just would recommend do what you are interested in now. Take those internships that you feel will help guide you in your career decisions. And if like some of us had mentioned, our internships were a dud and it was not very fun. I was a sales intern. It wasn't very fun where I was at the time, but I learned from that experience. I learned so much from that experience. And just go with what life is taking you now. And before you graduate, the year of graduation, you will kind of understand then where you might need to apply. If you want to work with AMA partners, that a lot of people graduate and go into those positions. But it might pivot, it might, and that's okay. I just want to make sure everyone knows that it's okay to pivot and change what you might be interested in.
All right, Ruth, would you like to start us?
Well, I would really echo what's already been said. Don't wait until you graduate to look and say, well, what is it that I want to do? It's totally cool to keep asking yourself that, like, for years and years and years later, but don't wait to start doing it. Do it, because as I listen to what everybody has said here today, one thing that came up was making connections among people, right? Those relationships. And the other thing that I really hear is people caring about what it is that they're doing. And so if you go out and you start doing some volunteering now, that's going to plug you into a network of people who all care about something that you care about. And that's a great place to start.
Yeah, just to kind of echo everything that's been already said. I would also say a lot of you might be considering, going to work for an AMA partner or in the for-profit sector. I would say give nonprofit a chance because it's often overlooked by students. They have great benefits to compensate, for as not as much pay as you might get for the for-profit sector, but that's not the only reason you're doing it. You're doing it to help a greater purpose in a community that aligns with your goals and your mission, and something that's dear to your heart. I would also say, at least in my case, nonprofit work's very flexible. And if that's something that matters to you, that might be why you want to go for it. I get to work from home 5 days a week. The only time that I'm in the office is occasionally for board meetings. With the people I have to answer to, or on-site filming for events where I capture media. But depending on where you work in the nonprofit sector, if flexibility is important to you, and working when you want to work, as long as you're getting the work done at the end of the day, I would definitely take a chance on the nonprofit sector because it's a very rewarding sector, not only in terms of what you can do as a marketer or as a business student, but also in the kind of benefits you get out of it.
I would say in college now, just seize every opportunity that presents itself to you. Once you graduate, you're not going to class and having people teach you things. It's on your own to keep up with the trends and figure out what's happening in the world around you and stay up to date with the technologies. So get as much experience as you can now, do the scary sales competitions, go to the regional conference, listen to the guest speakers, try to get as much information and knowledge and experience as you can while you're in college now, because once you get out there in the real world, you have a 9 to 5 and that's what you're supposed to do every day. And it gets you have to get creative with how you're going to continue to learn. So take the time now to do as much learning as you can.
Thank you. Can everyone give a round of applause to our panelists? All right, I'm going to pass the microphone back off to Gracie for some last minute announcements.
All right, thank you. And thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. It was really cool to hear about a sector that we don't hear about often, and that a lot of people don't know that that's a career opportunity that they could take. So it was really cool to learn a lot more about. Before we show you the new social impact video real quick, we are starting the process of looking for new AMA board members. So if you are interested in joining as a new board member,